Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody else is excited to start a new week as I am. I got a lot going on this week. I'm kind of got a couple of little deadlines I'm working on with some design work, getting some ideas to some designers. Got to go to Pensacola on Tuesday. Might go back down to Pensacola next Saturday for a little vegan get-together, try to meet some people in this area. And yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a pretty busy, full, exciting week, which I'm happy about. Wanted to start the week with a little bit of raw food diet truth, talking about made up versus reality. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now so you can come back and see more content, and then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. If you don't click that, you may not stay subscribed. Kind of a lazy weekend, although I got some things done yesterday. Got a little bit of work, but a little bit of lazy, and when I'm lazy, I tend to just cruise around, surf around a little bit, see what's going on, see what people are saying. I watch like lots of little snippets of videos. I read comments, kind of just try to take in the big picture. I'm not like focused on one person or focused on what one person is saying or doing. And I've noticed this ever since I've been doing this lifestyle. There's just all too much made up stuff out there that just kind of keeps getting perpetuated and gets repeated throughout your various groups and just throughout the community. And when something's repeated enough, people tend to believe it. And it kind of gives them an excuse, it kind of gives them an out when things aren't working out for them. It's almost, once again, absolving people of their responsibility. Well, no, it's not something you're doing. It's just the way the body works, or some of this just weird alchemy. All this weird alchemy and a lot of woo-woo stuff that people come up with in relation to the raw food diet. Now, this will be another one of those talks because when you hit a nerve on somebody, I'll probably get a few more thumbs downs on this one, but I never quite understand why. If you disagree, I totally respect that, and I'm not ever going to say I'm totally right, but the only time people get irked by certain things is when it hits a little bit too close to home and it kind of threatens their current belief system or their current excuse system that they might have. Look, raw food affects the body differently, and it's a whole different concept of a lifestyle versus a diet than probably anything else you've ever done. But it's not that complicated. It's pretty much straightforward, and a lot of this stuff that people are throwing in to complicate it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And before I get started, I just pretty much say, as far as it goes, you know, and I'll use weight loss, although that's not the end-all be-all of this lifestyle, of a healthy lifestyle. I'll use weight loss as kind of like something I'm talking about just because I have dealt with that and I've seen how my body is, you know, reacts when I've eaten diets in the past and how it reacts when I've eaten normally and versus how it does now. So when I say something, I don't want it to sound, I'm an average person when it comes to that stuff. All through my life, I was a fat kid. I wasn't big, like I was always big. After about I got in high school, I wasn't really a fat kid anymore, but I was big. I was 240 in college, went to the gym, did all this. And even though I did carry some fat, what I mean by that is I just wasn't obese, but I looked like a big kind of heavy lineman, but kind of a lineman that had retired and gotten a little bit soft in the middle. But the point being, all through my life, whenever I tried to lose weight, and I did lose the weight, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy. It's just like everybody else talks about it, especially in the beginning. It was kind of like pushing a rock up a hill. It would be hard. Then I would get it going. Then I could lose weight. So I would say I'm about average there. So I'm not one of those, sometimes when you talk about weight loss, people say, well, yeah, some people can just drop weight like that. They can't. I found out I could on a raw food diet. And it was simply, to me, so many people don't want to hear this reality, but calories do count. I'm not saying that you sit around obsessively writing down and calculating exactly how much you take in. And maybe I should alter that just a little bit. More so than calories count, the volume of food that you're taking in counts. I think more than anything, I guesstimate in calories. People say, well, how many do you eat? And I kind of guesstimate, but I don't really know. I know the volume of food I take in. And it's pretty much simple mathematics. The more I take in, especially like if it's high fat, if it's higher fat, whatever, you know, I'm eating more processed with stuff. Yes, I can gain weight on this. If I'm just eating clean, which and I've made some mistakes and I've learned some of this stuff through trial and error. In the beginning, my weight just plummeted because I wasn't eating enough, but that's why it plummeted. I wasn't eating enough. So what I'm getting at here, so many people are buying into and telling themselves what they want to hear. When I would always advise, like I say, that way we don't have to, there's no argument. There's no, well, you're right, I'm wrong, no, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. You have to write everything down because a lot of this stuff is just faulty thinking and alchemy. Well, and I also get a little bit, my eyebrow goes up and I'm just like, uh-oh, should I turn my BS monitor on when I hear stuff like healing, release, you've got to gain weight before you lose it. Everybody out there thinks they're an exception. You know, I hear this all the time, like, I've been doing the raw food diet and I can't lose weight on this diet. And most likely you're not the exception. Exceptions are called exceptions for a reason because it's not many of them. That you have the rule, which is the majority or the large majority or most people, and then you have exceptions, which are a much smaller percentage. And most likely, not every single one of you out there that's saying, well, this, that, and the other is not the exception. Most of our bodies work. We've kind of come to accept this mantra of everybody's body's differently and everybody works differently. No, not that much. Not that much, and not to that big an extent where, you know, if you're in a group or you're in or if you take a group of people just in general doing this lifestyle, yeah, statistically, no, you can't have it, but like this huge percent of people that have this weird alchemy going on in their body, like not being able to lose weight. There's always, the devil is in the details. The devil is in the details, and that's why I'm saying write it down. Because when you write it down, there's no hiding from it. I'm almost 100% certain that a lot of these problems, whether it's weight loss, whether it's something is healing in your body slower than you want it to, your skin hasn't cleared up, I will almost guarantee you that 90% of the time you can find it in what you're eating. And maybe, I'm not saying people out there are lying about what they're eating. I think when you're not writing it down, you just don't realize. Maybe you're taking in a whole lot more fat than you have any concept of because you're not aware yet. You're ignorant of that fact. You're ignorant of how much fat is in certain things. And that ignorance, that's not a bad word. That just means not knowing. You don't know. Or maybe you just don't realize these things. Unless we write them down, you know, you could be eating a lot more fat in your diet than you realize. You write it down for 2 weeks, everything you eat, and then you go back and you're like, oh my God, like look at how much fat I'm eating there. Or look at this, look at how much of this, or all this processed food. You know, that processed food with all the chemicals, that just keeps, to me, I totally believe that helps people, that doesn't help because it's not really helping, but that can cause people to hold on to weight. But listen, you can fool yourself. You can try to fool other people, but you need to get real introspective. You know, when you look yourself in the mirror, that's like the moment. That's the moment you shouldn't be trying to fool anything. And if you listen, I've got somebody I'm going to start working with. Here, just helping them with their raw thing. I really wish I could do it in Costa Rica because there it's just easy. It's pretty straightforward. I know I could feed you for 3 months, making some adjustments, using a little consulting from people that are smarter than me. But if you were actually doing it, if you were actually eating a raw food diet in a clean way, you're going to get results from that. It's just, it's impossible not to. And like I say, let me be a little bit more clear on those numbers. Let me be a little bit more clear on those numbers. You give me 100 people as a subject group that I can experiment with, and they eat only what I tell them to eat, and I'll feed them plenty. There's not going to be any starvation, any restricting, any whatever. I would say 85 of these 100 people are going to, their weight, well, who knows, maybe some of them need to gain weight. Their weight's going to stabilize. They're either going to lose, they're going to gain. They're going to have more energy. They're going to have clearer skin. They're going to get the results that most people coming to this lifestyle are looking for. And I believe that with every fiber of my being. I'm saying 85, could be more than that because there's very few exceptions to a lot of these food rules. But if you were to believe kind of things online, it's about 50-50. About 50% of the people out there don't get results on this lifestyle. Why? Why? Is it the lifestyle, or is it things that they don't realize they're eating and they don't want to acknowledge they're eating in their lifestyle? The mind's a very important, a very powerful thing, and it likes to protect us. It likes to protect our emotions. It likes to protect our sensitive psyche. And the brain can kind of play tricks on you if you let it. You know, you can buy into certain things like that. But, you know, just look at this. Don't look at this as some sort of magical, mystical thing where you have to learn all these new things or whatever. Food in, food out. Fruit it, listen, once again, I'll finish off without giving other people like, you do this, you do that. Here's my base. I eat mostly fruit. Largely fruit. I gotta be fruitarian. If 75 to 80% of the calories I take in don't come from fruit, well, I don't know what does. Greens, salads, other vegetables, the dark leafy greens. Try to get a healthy amount of fat, you know, 10%. I try to stay around, if it averaged out over a year, 10%. Sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower, but a low fat, raw vegan lifestyle with a moderate amount of fat, fresh fruits and vegetables, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. So before anybody out there starts all of a sudden going to their database of things and reasons why this isn't true, just try it. Have you ever really tried that? The people that are struggling, do you write down what you are eating every day? And do you go through that? Are you honest about it? Do you evaluate it honestly? Now, I won't get into that factor. You got to do the best you can within your environment, but there's always substitutions that can be made to stay on a cleaner version of this. And I'm not even talking about this, you know, holy grail of raw is law, 100%, never eating a bite of cooked food again. To a large extent, you can get so many, you can get the just huge majority of benefits from this lifestyle, whether you're fully raw or not. Like I say, I really like to focus on the cleanliness of the diet. And I don't know, somebody will ask me what cleanliness means. What do you mean? What does cleanliness mean? I mean, everybody's sort of got a definition, but it's just a universal exception. Eating clean foods, eating fresh, whole fruits and vegetables. Not like for me, and if you do it, you do it. I don't eat the oils. I'm not saying I never eat any oil, but on probably 358 or 360 days of the year, I don't eat oil. Very rarely. I'm not a fanatic. Every once in a while, I want a little pink Himalayan salt on something. Very seldom. Maybe I do that once a month, twice a month at the most. So you're eating whole fresh foods. You know, you're keeping your fat intake down around 10%. You're not eating a bunch of processed stuff with a storm of chemicals in there. You're not eating oils. You're not eating salts. I'm sorry. You're not going to do all that kind of stuff and eat the correct amount for your size and your activity level and not lose that weight. And if so, then maybe you need to get that's way over my head, then maybe you need to go see an endocrinologist or something like, did I say that right? Or somebody special for some sort of, you know, something going on there. Anyhow, try to keep it simple. And then maybe you are an exception, but just try the basics first. And it all starts with writing it down. If you're struggling, and like I say, I always like to be full disclosure, I don't write anything down. I don't need to. It's just, you know, it hasn't been that much of an issue. But if you're not getting what you want to get out of this lifestyle, best way to finish there, write it down and then analyze it. Anyhow, just my 2 cents worth. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.